Om Namah Shivaya, everyone. Once again, welcome back to our session. So let us begin our session with a prayer. Om ध्यायामो धवलावगुण्ठनवतीं तेजोमयीं नैष्टिकीं स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनीं भगवतीं मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखीं वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनीं श्यामाङ्गीं मधुसिक्तसूक्तिम् अमृतानन्दात्मिका ईश्वरी। ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः। ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः। ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः। So once again, welcome everyone. So I'm handing over to Sir. Sir, over to you, sir.
Yeah, namaste. Welcome to the new session of the course on the geography of Ṛgveda. So we are passing through the rivers. So I'll just have a quick recap on the course that we have been doing, so that we understand where we are and what we need to do for further. So can I this share button is disabled. So if you can. So if you look at this is the online course that we are doing, Ṛgvedic geography. So we have passed through this are such introductory session, the summary of the Ṛgvedic chronology, the Ṛgvedic patterns, that is Panchajanas, Trikshus, Parthavas, Trikshis, Sharyatas, and other Purus, numerous kings, etc. So the Trikshus are the Aitihasic Panchalas, the Parthavas are the Anavas, or the Daitya Danavas in the Itihasa Puranas. And Trikshis are the western branch of the Ikshvakus, like cousins of Dasharatha and Rama, who are in the eastern branch of the Ikshvakus. Then the Sharyatas or the Haihayas, like Kartavera, Arjuna, every part of the Haihaya. And so many other, like other Purus, like the Samvarana Bharata branch, different from the Panchala and Kushiga branch of Bharatas. So both Vishwamitra branch and the Sudas branch, and the third branch is the branch of the Bharatas, Samvarana Bharata branch, leading to the Kurus, then Pradeva, Shantanu, Vijitra, Virya, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Pandavas and Kauravas. So all these things we have discussed, and the Ṛgvedic poets, pre-Ṛgvedic sages, and the sages who are even predating the early Ṛgvedic period, and the Ṛgvedic composers who are contemporary to the early, mid, and late Ṛgvedic period. The Ṛgvedic Devatas like Indra, Agni, and numerous other Devatas, Ṛgvedic rivers. So we have done a mere sequencing of the Ṛgvedic rivers based on the mention of the chronologically sequenced mandalas. Give you a very interesting insight of the migration from like Saraswati to westwards. So refuting the Aryan invasion theory. And we also discussed about some geographical regions in the Ṛgveda. The 0 point region, the Vilaspada in the Kurukshetra region known as Nabha Prithivya and Vara Prithivya. And then the Ṛgvedic region, Sapta Sindhu, Saryanavat, Gandharva region. Gandharva region is the Gandhara region itself. Then Kikata region to the east of Yamuna and Ganga, which people migrated to Bihar, forming the Magadha Janavada. The Matsyas who were living along the Yamuna and migrated southwards to the Virata Janavada in the northeastern Rajasthan, where the Pandavas lived incognito. The Chedi Janavada, which migrated from an arid region along Saraswati with camels traveling around. From that region, they migrated eastwards along through Mathura, coexisting with the Yadavas there and the Kikadas, Magadas there. Finally, reaching their Aitihasic destination in the Mahabharata period in the UP Madhya Pradesh border. And I mentioned about the Rama traveling southwards along that Chedi region, but not yet recognizing Chedi because during the period of Rama, Chedis were just moving eastwards. All that we have discussed. And then the rivers we have started, Haryupia and Yagyavati, two rivers running parallel, which are nothing but western channel of Yamuna, Yagyavati. And Haryupia is Drishatvati or Chautang River itself. They're running parallel for some period of time in the some period in the region of eastern Haryana. We may discuss about Ganga, the significance of Ganga, like mentioned in the early part of the Rigveda in the sixth mandala itself, which completely refutes the Aryan invasion theory because like if people were migrated from west to east, Ganga should be like mentioned only in the late Ṛgvedic period. But in the early Ṛgvedic period itself, Ganga is mentioned means people were already in the Haryana, this western Uttar Pradesh, Haryana region, because of Ganga is in the earliest mandala, one of the earliest referred river. Then Ganga mentioned as Jannavi because Vishwamitra become dominant in the region, and Kushiga ancestor Jannu is very famous. So Ganga is renamed as Jannavi as the daughter of Jannu. And Ganga is mentioned in various mandalas. Then Saraswati, how river Saraswati is the most famous popular river mentioned in more than 80 times in the Rigveda. And how Saraswati is mentioned in the third and seventh mandala as a abundant rainfed river noticed by Vasishta and others like Jamadagni, the early Ṛgvedic Vasishta and Jamadagni, describing Saraswati as a water rain flood, abundant river. And then Saraswati in the middle mandalas, 8th and 9th mandala, 10th mandala, when Saraswati become part and parcel of even funeral hymns. That is during the death of the heroes, even Saraswati is mentioned. All these things. And of course, in the Ganga, we have noticed some trade activity of Padis and a trade king named Bruppu, who ruled somewhere closer to the later, much later emerged Hastinapura, etc. All these things we have discussed, and we have discussed the Drishatvati River, which is a tributary of the largest tributary of Saraswati flowing through the eastern Haryana. Apaya River, another tributary of Saraswati. And of course, one of the ancient channel of river Saraswati, flowing through the middle of the Kurukshetra. And we have analyzed Vipash and Sudutri, the two rivers which is like the Bias and Satluj in the Punjab, and how Vishwamitra with some wagons, military army of Sudas, Vishwamitra was leading and crossing the Vipash Sudutri confluence. And we noted the chariots were driven by bulls, not horses, but bulls, and very much aligned with the evolutionary history of the animal-driven vehicles and chariots. It is completely aligned in alignment. Then we have mentioned about the Bharata expansion beyond Vipash and Sudutri, like how they moved further westward, the Sudas, because of Sudas' actions. And about the Usha's chariot crushed near the Vipash River. This is nothing but an a symbolic reference to an old calendar being discarded and new calendar starting. So that is symbolically described there. And about the wheel of sun, that is Kala Chakra, and the four yugas, how will the concept of four yugas emerging from the Kala Chakra, based on some of the suktas mentioned in connection with the Vipash in the Bias River in the region. Because of the completely captured in a riddle hymn of Dirkatamas. All these things we have discussed, and Yamuna we have discussed, and how after Vishwamitra, Vasishta is seen as the priest and advisor to Sudas, and how he is describing a battle that is occurring in the Yamuna, where a king named Bheda is defeated, and Matsyas fled to the southwards, and Yakshus, which we have noted as having some correspondence with the Yadavas, the Yadus, as well as with the Yakshas. So both angles we have analyzed in the previous talk. And the Maruts as a patterns on the banks of Yamuna. So first time the Maruts are given offering in the Swama ritual, so the Swama ritual evolution. from early Ṛgvedic, not much in the some towards the late part of the early Ṛgvedic to middle Ṛgvedic and later Ṛgvedic, how the Soma ritual evolved from Indra worship expanded by giving Soma to Maruts and later giving Somas to Ashwins because of efforts of Chavana. So various rishis have their own pattern gods. So because of that, Maruts were offered Soma along with Indra, and then also the Ashwins were offered Soma along with Indra. So that tradition is everything. So this today's talk, we will be focusing on the Parushni River, very important river. And then I am just completing the recap. So then we move to Asikni River. So Parushni is the Iravati or Ravi River. Asikni is the Chandrabhaga River in the Idihasas, also called the Hladini River in the Ramayana, and then today known as Chenab. Then Vibali River. This is a very interesting river, a branch of earliest branch of the Vitasta River. Then Sindhu River, Sarayu River, very important. Then Urjayanti and Sarapas, two tributaries of Saraswati. Then Shifa, Anjasi, Tulsi, and Veerapatni, the river south of Kurukshetra, in what is today called later called Kurichandala. So Shifa is the Sahibi River of Delhi, and then Anjasi and Tulsi, Yavyavadi and Drashadvadi, and Veerapatni, Saraswati. All these things we will be discussing. Then Kubha and Krumu, the western tributaries of Sindhu River in the western side. Anitabha is another tributary of Sindhu to the northwestern side, close to Kashmir Valley. Gomati and Mehatnu, another two tributaries of Sindhu in the western Pakistan. And the Arjgi and Sushoma, two tributaries of Sindhu in the adjacent to the Kashmir Valley. They originate on the mountains in the Kashmir border of Pakistan and flow through Islamabad and such cities of Pakistan today, but ancient seats of Vedic places, Vedic rivers. Rasa River, which is another name for the Sindhu River, because of which we have the concepts like Rasatala, etc., that we will mention about. And Sarama and Pani is active in the Rasa region of Sindhu. Then Tritsama, Shushartu, and Shetvya, three rivers in the Kashmir, Ladakh region. That is very interesting. And Suvastu, Gauri, Svetyavari, and Ashmanvadi rivers, tributaries of Sindhu and Kubha River, etc. And Svetya River. All these things we will be discussing. Amshumati, that is another, the very late Ṛgvedic name of Yamuna River, when Rama's ancestor Amshuman migrated to the east from the Saraswati region on their way towards the Ayodhya of Uttar Pradesh. So Amshumati is there. Then Marudvrtha and Vitasta River, the two distributary, the two channels of the Vitasta River, that is a Jalam River of Kashmir. And then Vajinavadi, Urnavadi, and Silamavati, again, like the Sindhu River and its tributaries in the Ladakh region. And then the Samudra, which is more famous, more popular than River Saraswati. So one chapter is dedicated to that. And then you have the a comparison of the Ṛgvedic geography with the archaeology, because we have completed all the rivers and Samudra also. So we will move to the summary kind of the chapters. So sessions like the Ṛgvedic geography and archaeology, the comparison, and how much the Ṛgvedic geography is extended in east, north, south, and west. All these things we will be discussing. The Divodasa and Rama's archaeology related to Divodasa and Rama, and concluding remarks. All the rivers summarized once again, like in the introductory chapters, and then the migration, all the migrations summarized, early migrations, and the concept of the reverse migrations, a summary of all the migrations, and summary of the various regions and places. So that is how we conclude it. So it's the chapters in the rivers of Ṛgveda is a total of 35 chapters, and out of which we have now completed 15 chapters. So you can understand how much percentage of the course is completed. So I will also ask you, all of you who find benefit from this particular talk, to your friends and spread this into your networks, and let many more people benefit from this kind of talk. That is one suggestion I will be making in this middle part of this particular, in today's talk. So let us move on to the very famous river, that is Parushni, and then I'll stop it here, and then we'll move to the famous river Parushni. Yeah, and the river Parushni is as far as Ṛgveda is concerned, is one of the great popular river in the Ṛgveda. Like you have Saraswati as the most popular river, and then you have Sindhu river as the second most popular river, and then like Parushni comes in the fourth position in terms of popularity. And so that means it's a very much well discussed river, and it is mentioned around 6 times in the Ṛgveda, whereas Saraswati is mentioned around 80 times, like that. So of course it's not very much anywhere matched towards the largest river, that is Saraswati, but Saraswati is a very special river. So even 6 references of a river means that is a very important river in the Ṛgveda. Etymologically, the Parushni name emerged from Parus. Parus, basically in the Sanskritam, in ancient Vedic Sanskritam, it means tufts of wool. And there is an alternative in different contexts. In alternative, it can become form of gray color, etc. So primarily, the term used is as a wool. So wool. The reason is because the Parushni river is, if you look at, it's coming from the Himalayan region. So the Parushni river is like it is going to here, like in bordering Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. It originates from the deep from the Himalayan snow glaciers. So because of that, this entire Parushni, especially up to here, where it descends from the Himalayas, it's all full of woolen, like full of sheep and wool, etc. So what is the understanding is that as the river flows, it will contain tufts of wool. That is because the sheep will shed wool in a natural manner, and this wool caught by wind get into the water of Parushni. So in the Parushni river, you will get to see the tufts of wool because it's coming from the Himalayan regions. So that is why it is called Parushni. And of course, it's also used for some cows, with gray color spots, etc. So that is another context. But primarily, a river of wool, and it called river, a river which is coming from the Himalayas. A snow-fed river is implied by the meaning. And you can see it's later in the Aitihasic period, the name was Iravati, and Ravi is a short form of the Iravati. So it has nothing to do with the word Ravi, which is signifying sun, because here basically it is a short form of the Iravati that becomes Ravi river. So yeah, so that is all about the 3 names of Parushni. And even Iravati has a very much political significance, because Ira is actually another like rendering of the Ila. Ila is, we know all of, Ila is the daughter of Manu and priestess of all the humanity. So that ancient Ila is a reason for that term, because Ila is rendered as Ida or as Ira. Both renderings are actually equal to the name Ila. So Iravati is basically Ilavati. So the river Parushni is renamed after Ila in the Aitihasic period. And that is a political statement, because we know that King Sudas conquered the Parushni region, like after Vashamitra passed to this confluence of Sutudri and Vipash, he moved westwards. So crossing this, so this entire region became part of the empire of King Sudas. And he crossed using wagons driven by bulls. So the bull-driven chariots or bull-driven carts were the main vehicles for the warfare, etc. At that time, horses were not used. So he reached here, and because then it is a dominance of the Bharatas here, and the Bharatas, definitely everybody's ancestor is Ila, but Bharatas, because they are considered as the torch bearers of the Ila lineage, the Chandravamsha lineage, their dominance, they have represented in the form of Ila, the goddess or priestess Ila, the daughter of Manu. And that is why the Iravati term becomes very important. Even otherwise, nobody minds because Anavas and other refuse, everybody is born from Mila. And she's the ancestors of everybody. So it is like a kind of Parushni, the term become very popular term in the Rigveda, gave way to the term Iravati in the Aitihasic period. And this is how in the Mahabharata river is mentioned as Iravati. And in Ramayana, it have its own unique name for this. Okay, I think, yeah. I mean, Ramayana is slightly different. I mean, I just a little confused. So Ramayana, what happens, the name Iravati is not directly mentioned, but it mentions about Airavata. Airavata is actually the elephants on the banks of river Iravati are called, it's the Airavata elephants. Similarly, the people belonging to this region is also called as Airavatas. So we will in the Mahabharata they are called Airavata Nagas, and because they are the Naga people who are living along the banks of Iravati, as opposed to the Naga people living on the banks of Ganga. And we also know that it's a kind of a completely multiple connections. Because Naga people, many people only consider them as snake people, right? But Naga term in Sanskritam also means elephant. So Naga means both elephant as well as snake. So Naga people also means they were the people who are adept in the handling of an elephant. And elephants were abundant in the Ganga region. I remember I talked about it in our talks. And similarly, there are different category with different species of, I mean, not species, but a different subspecies of elephants are born in the Iravati River. That is a slightly western habitat of the elephants. There were forests here, and there were western habitat of elephants here. So these elephants are also tamed for they were taming of these elephants for warfare. Everything happened. So that is also the reason why they are called Naga people, Nagas, Airavata Nagas. So they are because in the poetry, because the word Naga mostly instead of getting more connection, more associating with the elephant, the Naga automatically got associated with snakes, and they are also representing themselves in the form of snake representation on their crown. Because of that, we will continuously associate them with Naga symbolism, but they are also elephant people. So the people who tame elephant, uh, turn them into war elephants and use them in warfare. So all people are Nagas actually. So we have Nagas all over the region. So there are Naga settlements along Ganga in the eastern region and Naga settlement along the Parushni in the western region. And so Ramayana mentions because the river, instead of mentioning the river, it's very prominently mentioned Airavata Nagas. And when Bharata came, Bharata's Kekaya Janapada is somewhere here. So in this region, when the Bharata came from Ayodhya to Kekaya, the Kekaya ruler gifted him Airavata Nagas, Airavata elephants. That's very much interested in mentioning the Ayodhya Kanda of Ramayana. So it have a representation, the river have got representation in the Ramayana as well. In the form of Airavata elephants mentioned. So Airavata automatically implies Iravati. Even though the river is not mentioned, its derivative name Airavata is mentioned there. So that is all about Airavata elephants and Airavata Nagas. So probably this Kikeya Janapada, where the uncle of Bharata was ruling, maybe have a dominion there. He has got a power till up to this point. So that is why he is able to give the Airavata elephants to Bharata. And then in the Mahabharata, there is again the Airavata are very famous because Arjuna's wife Ulupi belonged to the Airavata lineage of king. But that king was actually not part of, he was migrated from the Iravati river and living in Ganga in the Rishikesh region, Rishikesh and Haridwar region. So there, the king was Airavata king was ruling there. Arjuna went there and he was bathing. Then Ulupi saw Arjuna, and she wanted to become a wife of Arjuna and their son. So they spend one night there, and their son is Iravat. who was also participated in the Kurukshetra war and unfortunately died before Abhimanyu. So all these connections are there. But actually, most important part regarding to the Parushni River, I think I have repeated many times, is the Dasharajina battle. It's the largest political kind of an event happened in the Ṛgvedic period. So everybody knows the most popular king of Ṛgveda, Sudas. The most popular event in Ṛgveda is Dasharajina battle. And it was like a kind of a early form of the Mahabharata battle itself. But of course, less number of people, because it happened in the early Ṛgvedic period in around 3200 BC. There was less number of people participated. So the participation count is mentioned as 6,500 on both sides. So both armies, Suda's army like fighting from here, from the north, southeast towards the other confederation of the 10 kings. That is including the Puru. That is, Purus are the main, that is the Samvarna Bharata, the lineage of the Pandavas were there here. And there are the Anus. So Anus and Purus are the main forces. They were both expelled by Sudas to the northwest of the Parushni River, which is considered as his boundary at that time. So they both had a very painful feeling against the King Sudas. For what, even whether we don't know whether the Sudas is having in the Mahabharata, we know the Pandavas are more or less on the side of Dharma, and they are having the rightful. I mean, based on the reading the Mahabharata, we know that Pandavas were more towards the dharmic side, and the Kauravas were in the adharmic side. But in case of Ṛgveda, it doesn't give any clue. I mean, we don't have any sufficient information who is right and who is wrong. So, but one thing we know that Sudas expanded his like power. So till in the east up to Yamuna and to the west up to Parushni, this is the border of Sudas. And how strange, it is also the border of the India and Pakistan. So this is the border river of King Sudas, the western boundary. So whoever were opposed to him, whoever become a challenge for his dominion, he expelled them to westwards. So the Anavas as well as the Samvarna branch of the Bharatas, they have to flee. And the Samvarna Bharata was like in their transit towards their final destination along Sindhu Sarayu region. But at that time, he was somewhere along the Asikni River. After expelled by, after Sudas expelled Samvarna Bharata, he left the Parushni boundary and established himself along the Asikni River. So in the Asikni River is also the stronghold of all the Danavas and Daityas, or otherwise called the Anava kings. So the Kavi Chayamana is also similarly expelled, even though his forefather Srinjaya Devavata was very much alliance with Suda's forefather. The Kavi Chayamana's forefather Abhyavartin Chayamana was actually a moral alliance with Suda's forefather, the Srinjaya Devavata. So their ancestors were friends, but in the current generation, Sudas and Kavi Chayamana were enemies, because Sudas wanted to dominate everything. All the other kingdoms, all the other Janapata, other kings were expelled to the northwest side. So all of these people were all assembled here, and they decided to prevent the further expansion of Sudas to westwards. So along the Asikni, they made a confederation by calling other the allies. So this alliance was led by the Anu, that is Anu king Kavi Chayamana, who in the later Puranas we describe as Sukracharya, etc. But it is a later transformative formation. But Kavi Chayamana is a historical Parthava king, Anava king. So he is a more historical Anava. So that more historical Anava king actually, and he and the Puru basically the Samvarna Bharata. So he is also described in the Mahabharata as a Paurava, and in the Ṛgveda as the Puru of scornful speech, because everything is from the perspective of Sudas, and all these things are reported by Vasishta, who at that time was the priest of King Sudas. So he was witnessing this battle, just like Vedavyasa was witnessing the battle of Kurukshetra of Pandavas and Kauravas. Vedavyas's great grandfather, the Vedavyas's great ancestor. I mean, his great grandfather was in the late Rigvedic period, but this is an ancestor much more later than here. Vedavyas's one great grandfather Vasishta. So it's the earliest Vasishta, the early Rigvedic Vasishta, who lived at least 1,000+ years earlier than Vedavyas. So he was the witnessing this battle of this Parushni. This is also called as the Dasharajina battle, but its another name is Battle of Parushni because it was fought on the Parushni river.